Welcome back, everybody, to this week's episode of It's Called Football on the Vendetta Sports Media YouTube channel. Jerry Walker, Jackson Fyda back. We had a week off last week. I was out of town traveling, could not partake. But we're back. Jackson, it's been an eventful week. We had some Premier League action over the weekend. We'll touch on a few of those matches. Champions League second leg quarterfinals happened this week, so we'll touch on those. Maybe drop in on what the other Premier League teams did in the Europa League and the Conference League. And then, like always, preview a couple matches this upcoming weekend because there are some big ones between top dogs. So before we do that, how are you doing this Friday afternoon, or I guess Friday morning on the West Coast?
Yeah, I'm good. Ready to talk some footy again. It's been a little break for us, so ready to get back into it.
Oh, yeah. And we'll get it kicked off with your boys. Arsenal going to Old Trafford, taking on Man U, and ultimately finished 1-0. Bruno Fernandes gets a goal very late, stoppage time in the first half. Declan Rice gets a leveler about halfway through the second half. And what was your reaction to this one? Because it didn't seem like either team really had their chances to kind of win it at the end. Yeah. I know David Raya had a couple big saves, but
he did.
Were you surprised with the result?
No, just based on the injuries we've had and just kind of general drop off in form because of that in the Prem. It sucks because I think we are a much better team than Man U. Stats-wise, we won the game, right? You look at the stats. We had more possession, more shots. No, we had equal shots on target, but more shots, all that. But if you actually watch the game, Man U should have won 100% with the chances they had. David Raya had a couple of insane saves. Now, I do think on the free kick, his positioning was horrendous. And that's rich coming from someone who hasn't played a minute of competitive goalkeeping in their life. But it wasn't like it was top bins. Think he could have saved it. But he made up for it later on because those were some phenomenal saves that he made later on during the game. But, I mean, just talking about the general feel of the game, all I would say is that game sucked. Like, it didn't really feel like Arsenal – like, if anyone deserved to win, it was Man U, but I didn't really feel like they deserved to win either. It was one of those games where it was like, we'll take the point, we'll all be unhappy. How's that sound? It just was one of those games. And it wasn't like it was completely devoid of shots. Like, Man U had 10, 6 on target. Arsenal had 17, 6 on target. But it just had that feel to it, where it's like,
It was missing something. And I don't know if it was just a lackluster of Arsenal going forward. Because while they did have 6 shots, outside of the Declan Rice one, it didn't really seem like there was a true goal-scoring opportunity. Whereas Man U definitely had some that David Raya stepped up, like you said already. And there's just one of those matches that I think a draw was a very fair result.
Yeah.
3 points either way would have been well-deserved for either team. But I think it ultimately, just the way it played, the tempo. Like, don't get me wrong. If Arsenal was fully healthy, even if you just had Saka back or even Havertz, I think it changes a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
But it was. And you can't do it. And it's something that we did mention a couple weeks back. I think last time we did the show that you need someone else to step up. You need that midfield trio to really step up. And fortunately for Arsenal, Declan Rice did do that this week and managed to at least save a point.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that this is a wake-up call that we need a striker. You just need to go get somebody, someone who's a consistent goal scorer. The little half-ass Ollie Watkins bid pissed me off. You need to actually go and get somebody over the summer. If you can get Osimhen, I don't know if we can. That'd be great. Watkins, Cunha, I don't care. Got to get somebody because right now it's biting us in the ass. If we had a little bit more depth up top, maybe the Premier League title race is still on, So hopefully this is a wake-up call because, like you said, apart from that Declan Rice shot, which great shot, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
Apart from that, didn't really feel like we were ever going to score.
No, it really didn't. And it's just one of those ones that you had guys on the bench who we'll touch on the Champions League, but you got Raheem Sterling playing well. Zinchenko, I believe, scored over the Champions League midweek. So
he did, yeah.
There's these guys who are able to do it, just they aren't getting the playing time and even getting the opportunity to prove themselves in the Premier League, which Arsenal's got a stacked team. Injuries aside, it's still a very good team. And it was one of those ones that they couldn't break it down. And fair play to the Man U midfield and defense. And Bruno Fernandes has stepped up massively this last couple weeks, so
Yes.
they're playing well. It seems like once they kind of, I wouldn't say got clear of the relegation zone, they were never truly down there.
Mm,
But now they seem like Man U's finding a little bit of a flow better. Not like it's coming a little too late, but they're not losing matches that they have been.
Yeah.
Outside of like the Tottenham one. And I guess Crystal Palace was a bad loss to the beginning of February, but that seems like an eternity ago at this point.
hmm It does feel like they're moving generally in the right direction. I mean, that's not even the biggest news to come out of Man U, though. I mean, should we talk about that stadium?
The circus tent
Yeah.
fits perfectly for the circus that's playing underneath it at the moment.
You know, the funny thing is that was kind of like the exact thought I had when I saw it. It
It's,
looked exactly like that.
I mean,
But the red.
yeah.
Mm.
Yep. For those who haven't seen it, go look it up. It's and I like the idea of it being the pitchfork with the three spikes going up, but it just looks comical.
It
I mean,
does.
if it truly is 100,000 seater, that's going to be pretty interesting to see.
Huge. The biggest one in the country. Or
I
not?
believe it might be the biggest stadium in Europe.
I thought Camp Nou had a little bit more.
Okay, then maybe the
I thought it had a little bit more. It's bigger than Wembley, though.
yeah, but it's definitely one of the bigger ones. So that means that they're putting all that money into that. I'm curious to see what Man U does this summer.
Ooh.
If they're spending all that money on a stadium, are they going to be able to go out and spend just as much on players? Because that's another whole issue that we could talk hours about. Is just the Man U players. I've talked with people I know, fans of Man U, and just people in the football in the world who at least follow it. That it's like they're just lacking something. Players don't seem to want there. And you look at it, Rashford playing pretty well for Aston Villa now. Anthony has been balling out for Real Betis.
He's like a phoenix from the flames. How he's been at Betis. It's been unbelievable.
And it's like I trust Ruben Almiron. I do think he'll be the right manager for him to at least kind of start competing once again. But it's just the lack of players caring. You need to get rid of the likes of Casemiro's. The defense is in shambles when you're playing with like Lindelof. You're relying on Harry Maguire a lot at times. It seems like something needs to change. Xerxes hasn't been playing his best recently. Neither has Garnacho. I will say fair play to Garnacho after all the transfer stuff. He has kind of progressed a bit in the last couple months. It was like Christian Eriksen. He's at the back end of his career. You need to bring in guys who are younger and kind of start building this team up. Rasmus Højlund, I want to say, is like 13 matches without scoring a goal now.
He has been awful this season. Yeah. And I thought he was going to have a good season. Like I called it last year. I'm like, I think he's going to have a slow start, and then he's going to pick it up next season. I was wrong. He's been even worse.
Yeah, it's been rough sailing for him. Before we move on to the next match, do you have any other thoughts on just Arsenal and Man U at the moment?
Nah, nothing really. I mean, from an Arsenal perspective, title race was out the door before this. You know, at this point, you just want to hold on a second. 4 points clear, I think we'll realistically be fine. But, you know, lackluster. And from a Man U perspective, at least you're not losing.
Yeah.
You know, look at that as a positive. You got a point. It sucks because you're up 1-0, and honestly, you had the much better chances. But a draw with a good team who's in second place right now you'll take that. You know,
not a bad result at all. And I do want to just ask one more before we move on. Arteta. Who the hell is Moretta? Arteta in his post-match press conference getting asked, "Oh, is the title race over?" and he just storms off. That was interesting to me to see.
Yeah, I think it comes from a place of serious frustration.
Yep.
And obviously, as a manager, you're going to back your players, you're going to back your team, but there's no way he realistically thinks we're catching him at this point. You know,
that's what I think. That reaction was partially. He's like, I have to say I'm backing my team, but it's 15-point difference now in the play.
And I think part of it too is he's probably like, why are we asking this question?
Yep.
Like, come on, we all know. We can all look at the table right now and see that they're 15 points ahead of us. Granted, we do have a match. Yeah, we have a match in hand on them.
Yeah.
But a match in hand, we'll have 9 games left after that. Closest we can get is 12 points. So it's technically not out of play, but it's out of play. Let's be real here. It's out of play. It would take Liverpool having a just an absolute collapse. And I just don't see that happening when you look at who they have coming up.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple teams at the end could give them problems, but
by then it might be too late.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you look at their upcoming fixtures. Obviously, this weekend they have the EFL Cup Final with Newcastle, which we'll touch a little bit on that at the end of the show. But then it's Everton, Fulham, West Ham, Leicester, a bad Tottenham team that could cause them some issues just because it's Tottenham, and then Chelsea, Arsenal, Brighton, and Palace. I could see them at most losing maybe 3 games.
I was thinking 2.
At most. But that's a stretch because I think they'll beat Brighton. I think the only ones that they realistically might lose, maybe Chelsea and then Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see them slipping up against the bottom feeders of this division.
Yeah, that's my thoughts exactly. Look, maybe at the end, Chelsea, Arsenal, maybe Tottenham, maybe, but probably not Brighton.
Yeah.
Could give them some issues. But again, like you said, at that point, it might be too far down.
Yeah. Especially now that they don't have any European football to play for.
So they'll only be Premier League.
So, team who we've seen thrive in the Premier League time and time again recently, they had another blunder at the weekend. Man City, at the time, 4th in the Premier League, taking on Nottingham Forest, who was 3rd. And it was Forest and Callum Hudson-Odoi in the 83rd minute who won it for Forest out. This was quite something. Because, I mean, we know, and we talked about many times, Man City's behind the ball this year, yada, yada. This is still one that every year in the past, probably like 5-6 years, this is a match they'll come out and win and look good. They finished with 3 shots. They did have majority possession, but it's Man City. They always do. 3 shots on target, 14 total. Only allowed 4 shots on target to Forest, 9 total. But still, they just couldn't find the back of the net.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, par for the course with how this year's kind of gone. I'm not going to lie. I thought they would win this game. I thought we saw City was back. They're going to go and honestly lock up 3rd place. This caught me off guard a little bit. It's not really that surprising when you think about how well Forest has played this year and how they've done against some of these better teams.
Yeah.
But from a City perspective, this is absolutely embarrassing. You have 70% possession, but you only get 3 shots on target. That's just not good enough. And the thing that sucks is they basically had, minus obviously Rodri hurt, the exact team you'd want out there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe switch out Marmoush for, let's say, Doku, move Foden out on the wing. You've basically got exactly what you want, because De Bruyne is not at the races, all that. So I don't know what else you really want. You had, 70% possession, and you can't put it away. I mean, Forest had more shots on target. They actually generated a fair amount of shots because that's what they do. They defend well. Like, they've defended phenomenally well this year. Murillo and Milinkovic have been unbelievable.
They've conceded the 3rd least goals in the entire Premier League,
which is an insane turnaround compared to what we're used to seeing with Forest, right?
Which at the same time, so it's Arsenal's given up the least, 24, Liverpool 27, Forest and Crystal Palace have 30 are tied with 33 goals allowed this season.
See, the Palace one catches you off guard.
Yeah, and that's why I was looking at it. So I'm like, dang it. And then Bournemouth with 34 is the next best. So
yeah,
it's these random teams that are just sitting back, playing defensive-minded football, getting out on the counter, and taking advantage of their opportunities.
Which is smart.
Yes,
the
number
smart
of games,
way to do things.
Oh, it absolutely is. And the number of games you've seen them win 1-0 or 2-1 where it's just like a Chris Wood header off a set piece. Or the ball's bouncing around and Callum Hudson-Odoi finds it and puts it in. So it's just been a weird team that, not gonna lie, they're looking a little comfortable now. With the win, they have a 4-point gap over Man City. As we said earlier, 10 to play. But I like Forest's odds to kind of keep it going and get a European spot because they don't have to play anybody. They have to play as far as top teams go. Aston Villa's right on that cusp. And they play Brighton as well, I believe. No, they don't even have to play Brighton. That's in the FA Cup. And then they play
Yeah.
This is a very manageable run-in for Forest. And Arsenal, if you're not careful, I know it's a 4-point gap, but if you're not careful, we could see Forest finish second in the league.
Yeah, 100%. You could. I still don't think it'll happen.
I don't either.
I'm
I don't
back
think
at Arsenal.
dropped enough points.
Yeah, especially with guys coming back from injury. Martinelli's just about back. And Sacco should be returning, hopefully, after the international break. I don't think they'll do it. But I don't think they drop out of Champions League. I think this was a huge, huge step in the right direction for them, and they'll take full advantage. Because if they had lost this game, City would have hopped them.
Yep.
You know? City would have hopped them. Wait, would they have? Yeah, the City would have hopped them.
And Chelsea.
And Chelsea, yeah. They'd be in fourth place right now.
Oh, they'd be in fifth place.
Fifth place, yeah, excuse me. They wouldn't even be in fourth. They'd be in fifth place. So, I mean, the fact that they won when they needed to, when their backs were kind of up against the wall, if you will, that shows something. So, I mean, you got a back Forest at this point. And the way they're set up is just brilliant. Defensively, stout as hell. Talked about the two center backs and how good they've been. And then the way they attack on the counters, insane. They are designed for counter-attacking footy.
Yep.
And it's really interesting to watch how well it works when you have Alonga and Hudson-Odoi, two pacey, technical wingers who could just fly forward. They could fly. You've got Gibbs-White providing outlet passes to them, and you have Chris Wood there to finish headers, tap-ins, whatever. It's designed brilliantly, and it's been working like a peach, you know? And it's kind of interesting to see that approach is doing better than the let's possess the shit out of it approach that has worked for so long with City, with other teams. You know, it's kind of refreshing to see this whole counter-attacking, we have less money than you, but we've got pacey, skilled players that we're going to let run on the counter and go and beat you that way. It's kind of refreshing to see that working.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's fun to see a different name also mix. Forest has more Champions League titles than Arsenal.
Yeah, they do.
Man City. I think they're on par. No, yeah, I think they're level with Chelsea with 2 each.
Yeah.
But it's like Forest have this deep history, this long aging history, and now they're kind of finally getting back into the swing of things. They have a good ownership group. This is a team that I don't necessarily know if they'll compete for the Premier League title, but they can and have the potential to. I'm curious to see what they do this summer, what players they're able to keep.
Yeah.
Who heads off elsewhere? Because, I mean, Chris Wood would be a great number 9 to have at Arsenal.
I just think the age. I don't know if the style would fit as well either, to be completely honest. I think you want a more technical player. Although, to be fair, he has surprised me with how technical he is. He's gone on little skill runs.
Yes,
you know, and you're like, damn, I didn't know Chris Wood had that. I didn't know he had that upgrade.
Especially, how old is he now? That 33?
Yeah, that's the issue. It's not really like you can
build around
shape him into some other player. I mean, at 33, you're basically the finished product, right? So I don't think he'd be an option. I think he stays. I wouldn't leave if I were him. I'd finish off my career there. You're having a renaissance at a club, finish it off there. I will be curious to see where Gibbs-White ends up. I think someone's going to want him because he's so good. His passing range, his ability to start attacks from his own third and carry the ball forward and get things going. It'll be interesting to see where he goes. Hudson-Odoi and Alonga will be interesting too. They both had chances at bigger clubs. Stepped down a level to Forest, but now, I mean, they're in third place, so can't even really call it a huge step down. But it'll be interesting to see where some of those guys go for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, those 3 that you just mentioned, Alonga's 22, Gibbs-White's 25, and Hudson-Odoi is 24, so they're not even into their prime yet.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of potential ahead. And, hey, maybe Forest does keep them all, and they start building this team up and keeping it going as they have.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if they can do that, that would be pretty awesome to see because, like, we all expected Newcastle to come and compete, but that was because of who bought them, right?
Yep.
You basically have unlimited money. It's not the same story here with Forest. This has really kind of come out of nowhere this season. So if they can find a way to sustain it, which is very hard, just look at Leicester City. Yep. If they can find a way to sustain this, that would be awesome. And like you mentioned earlier, they do have the historical backing to do so and maybe get some more investors involved that can help push things forward, add additional funds so they can go and build on this very talented squad they already have.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Hey, maybe we do get another story like Leicester of some underdog-ish team coming through and winning the title. Be a nice change of pace for once.
Oh, yeah.
Moving on just to one more Premier League match from this past weekend. Tottenham hosting Bournemouth, and it looked bad for Tottenham in the first 65 minutes. 2-0, 1-0 at the half. Evan Nelson got a second one for Bournemouth, and they were looking comfortable. But all things changed. Papa Madesar got one 2 minutes after the Evan Ellison goal, and then Son gets a penalty late on to level it. Entertaining match, to say the least.
Yeah. I didn't think they'd come back.
No, I didn't either.
Honest. I mean, anyone who's been watching Tottenham this year would just assume they were dead in the water. So the fact that they were able to come back, it's a huge step in the right direction. And again, they were in a very similar boat to Man U early on, where we're like, could they maybe end up battling a little relegation? Obviously, very clear that now, tied with Man U on points, just to have a slightly better goal difference. But yeah, when you look at how they've played this season, you just would have thought they would have been completely dead. Like, done, game's over. Bournemouth, very good team. And as you mentioned, they concede the fourth fewest goals in the Premier League. So you wouldn't expect them to give up two late on, especially when they already have that 2-0 lead. But fair play to Tottenham. Sarr got the goal and then Son got the penalty. And they were able to get out of there. They had the possession numbers for sure. But in terms of overall chances, Bournemouth by far had more shots on target, looked the more dangerous team. So the fact that Tottenham was able to get themselves back into this, fair play to them. That could be a huge confidence boost heading forward.
Oh, most definitely could be. I mean, with that being said, like, maybe this is the thing Tottenham needed to kind of be a wake-up call. They're still 13th in the table. They might finish top 10. They're still 6 or 8 points back of Fulham for 10th. I don't really see them getting all the way up there. But this is a wake-up call that, okay, the players are still trying. They're finally getting healthy as well.
Which is critical, this key.
Because Romero is back. I know Van de Ven was back at the weekend or midweek. He was at least on the bench, and I believe did come on late against Bournemouth right before everything started switching over. So this team's getting healthy.
Yeah.
And it's also one of those things like Son came on at halftime. He didn't even start. There is potential at Tottenham. It's just, can they lock it in? Can they get it done? I've been rather disappointed with Dominic Solanke this season. I thought he would be better, but they have potential moving forward as well. Jed Spence has been a stud on that left back position. Archie Gray's been a pretty solid player, even though he's playing out of position. More often than not, he's been playing as a center back. Truthfully, he's more of a center defensive mid. But they got to do what they got to do, and this team is, I wouldn't say they're overachieving after everything that's happened, but
I think they're just finally starting to achieve.
Yeah,
that's how I'd put it, because you went from underachieving all year, because we were looking at this team beforehand, like, it's a decent Tottenham side. When you look at everyone when they're healthy, you got Maddison, who's phenomenal. We thought Solanke was going to be a revelation because he was so good at Bournemouth. Brennan Johnson, you've got Kulusevski, you got Son still, and then defensively, Romero, Van de Ven. We thought this team was going to be pretty solid, you know? Like, at least fighting for Champions League. So, obviously, very disappointing, but now I would phrase it as they're actually achieving. They're getting results, you know, against good. Bournemouth's a good team. Like, no one should take this away. They're right in the thick of it when it comes to Champions League race right now. So, being able to come back from 2 goals down is a huge deal.
Well, it is. And I mean, Tottenham doesn't have the easiest final stretch in, to say the least. They have to play away to Chelsea still, away to Liverpool, home to Forest, at Villa, home to Brighton. So a lot of teams in that top half of the table. I'm not getting carried away with anything by Tottenham yet, but they're trending the best they have this season.
100%.
Any other Premier League stuff you want to touch on from this past weekend before we move into some midweek European football?
I think we got the big stuff, to be honest.
I agree. Okay, Champions League. I think we have to start with the big dog. Liverpool, we've talked about 15 points clear. They're up 1-0 go against PSG, going home, and they truthfully didn't deserve to even win that first leg.
Yeah.
For those who didn't see it, it was an 87th minute winner from Harvey Elliott. That was their first shot on target, their second shot in the entire game. They gave up 27 shots against them. Absolutely outplayed. Possession was 70-30 in favor of PSG, yet they somehow found a way to win. I thought after that first leg, this was going to be over. Boy, were we wrong.
Mm-hmm. Boy, were we wrong. And, I mean, to be fair, justice for how that first leg went with this return leg. And this was very eye-opening on multiple fronts. One, I thought Liverpool was head and shoulders, coming out of the league phase, the best team in Europe. I didn't think anyone could compete. I mean, Salah was playing the best he's ever played. And this team just looks so good. They look so good defensively, all this. That first leg in Paris, kind of like, oh, they just got outplayed. Like, not just outplayed, they got ran off the pitch. Yeah. But somehow they managed to get the 1-0 win, and that's a sign of a good team. Even when you play poorly, you're able to find a way to win. I did feel this coming out, though. I called extra time at least, and then PSG goes on to win it, so I'm pretty proud about that. Oh, yeah. But, I mean, PSG is just good. I think that's what it comes down to. And you look at their league standings right now, they haven't lost a game all season.
Yeah.
They've only had 5 draws, and they're currently 16 points ahead of second place Marseille. They have been kicking ass. And I feel like a lot of attention's been taken off of them because you didn't have Mbappe there this year. You didn't have that kind of ongoing drama that you had last year that made you want to keep watching.
And I think that's what's benefiting them.
And someone else has stepped up in his place. Ousmane Dembele is playing like someone who could very well go and challenge Mo Salah for the Ballon d'Or.
Yep.
Which is key. So, I mean, watching this game was eye-opening for multiple different reasons. One, Liverpool can get beat, and 2, PSG is friggin' damn good because they deserve to come out and win that game.
And the other thing for me was like Dembele, as you said, got the winner or got the goal to level up on aggregate. Ultimately, it was the only goal we saw in this match. But there's a guy in net who I haven't seen enough respect thrown at after this match. Gianni Donnarumma.
Yeah.
He did exactly what he did against England in the Euro finals in 2021. He is a long, tall, dangerous goalkeeper who is very good at penalties and very good at reading them. And he did the job. He did what he had to do. Liverpool's just messed up multiple times. There's some bad penalty takes, but they were also damn good saves. And then on the other side, PSG's penalty takers were spot on. There's the one little close one that Alisson probably should have handled and saved, but didn't. There's too much power on it. And then the other ones were just pinpoint placement, power behind it. There's nothing anyone could really do about those.
Oh, yeah. They were well-taken pens. And I'll throw this out there. There's 2 keepers in the world who I would not want to take a penalty against. It's Emi Martinez and it's Gianluigi Donnarumma.
Yep.
They are so good at penalties. And going back to your point about Donnarumma not getting enough credit, he's only 26.
It feels like he's been 26 forever. He's still so young.
That's the crazy thing. He's been playing top-level footy for over a decade because he made his debut at AC Milan at age 16.
Yep.
Like, he has been around for so long, and people forget this, but he's not in his prime yet. So you see him make mistakes. You see him kind of have some of these issues, and people are like, oh, this dude's fallen off so much. He is still developing.
Yeah.
But he has the potential to put in a performance like this, which he did. And, I mean, also worth throwing out there, Alisson had a phenomenal 2-leg performance.
Oh, he did.
The first one was one of the best goalkeeping performances I've ever seen in my life. And so fair play to him as well. I mean, I will say, just from a neutral fan perspective, this tie was awesome. Especially the second leg, the Dembele goal early on that just set everything up beautifully for a great rest of the game, going all the way, going the distance. This was great.
And PSG was one of those last teams to even scrape in to the knockout round.
Yeah, they had a disappointing league phase.
Hey, you look at the first half, beat Girona, lost to Arsenal, drew with PSV, lost to Atletico, and lost to Bayern. Since that, they've conceded 3 goals in 7 matches.
Yeah.
The defense has stepped up. And the thing that's scary about them for me more than anything else is the pace that they can play at.
Oh, yeah.
They're so quick. You can talk about Hakimi rapid on the right back side. Kvaratskhelia. That's not
Kvaratskhelia, yeah.
Yep, he's rapid. Ousmane Dembele can play really quick as well. This whole team is just fast, skilled, and you brought up the fact that there's no Mbappe, no Messi, no Neymar anymore. That's why eyes are definitely less on Ligue 1. It also seems like the hardest one to watch as far as what it's on compared to like Serie A, Bundesliga.
You need beIN with your cable subscription. Yeah.
No one has cable, and no one's cable carries beIN. So
yeah,
very hard to watch Ligue 1. And I think that's why they kind of get slept on a little bit. But this team is now playing like a team. It's not playing divided as it did when it was Messi and Mbappe and Neymar, where you have one half with Messi, Neymar, one half with Mbappe.
Yeah.
Now that they're all gone, there's no drama. It just seems like one team that's playing together, playing for each other, playing to win. And they're looking damn good at it.
They are. They're looking great. I mean, this is the best they've looked in a long time. And it's just very interesting that they're not getting the credit for it because, again, you lost those superstars. But what you have instead is a more cohesive team. You also have got the right manager for it.
Yeah.
Luis Enrique doesn't take any bullshit, and he's helped construct the squad. And with their acquisition of Kvaratskhelia over winter, I think this team's going to be so hard to beat because they just have so many weapons in so many different areas of the field. I think defensively they look very, very good. Mendes, Hakimi, outside backs. You have Marquinhos in the center. You're going to have great leadership. You're going to have just great defense overall. And going forward, I mean, we just mentioned some of the guys, Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, Barcola, Doué on the bench. Gonzalo Ramos can come on at the 9 position. You have Vitinha pulling strings in the midfield along with Neves and Fabian Ruiz. It's kind of hard to beat that when you look at just overall quality. Like, everyone is very good. You don't have necessarily a superstar entity on it anymore. But like you said, I think that's what makes a difference. I think that's why they're so good. And I think that's why Liverpool struggled, because we've seen Liverpool this year be so phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they lost, because this team in PSG is just damn good. Not that Liverpool is really worse, or I mean, they're a little worse than we thought because we thought they're, cream of the crop.
Yeah.
But this isn't like they were like horrible. I think PSG is better.
I mean, yeah, the better team won over the 2 matches. The team that deserved to win went through, and it was one of those things that fair play to PSG. So we're down 2 English teams in the Champions League. Man City and Liverpool. Did not think those would be the first 2 out.
No,
Arsenal looked very comfortable. 9-3 on aggregate, 2-2 at the Emirates, but it was all but done by them after 7-1 in the first leg.
We had Tierney starting at left wing. I mean, we were throwing some stuff. We had a Sterling start. That's how
Exactly. And then Aston Villa won 3-0 in the second leg, 6-1 overall on aggregate against Club Brugge. And they're the ones who get PSG next, which will be very interesting.
Yeah.
As far as everything else goes, pretty straightforward. The only other one I'm going to dive a little bit into just briefly because I want to get your opinion on the penalty shootout. Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid. Ultimately, Real Madrid wins. There's a former Premier League player, Conor Gallagher, who opened the scoring less than 30 seconds in for Atletico. Gave them the level on aggregate. But in the penalties, also want to say Vinny Jr. had a penalty in regulation. Skyrocketed. It looked like he should be playing for England with that kind of penalty kick. Sad as it is. But what did you think of the Julian Alvarez penalty? Because at first it went in. Then I think VAR reviewed it and said it was a double touch, which it looked really difficult to prove that it was. And it looked really difficult to say that it wasn't. So I think the call should have stood. But it's one of those things like it doesn't always work that way.
It was like one of those weird, like, unique situations where it's just like, like watching it, like, and everyone's freaking out about this. I really don't think it is that big a deal at the end of the day. It did look like a slight double touch.
I agree. It looked like he slipped because he did slip.
Like he did slip. That's why it was a double touch. And you may hate it, but I mean, the rules are the rules. It's a double touch.
I agree, personally. I know a lot of people were upset. FIFA, I think, or UEFA's even reaching out to FIFA and the other footballing body to kind of be like, hey, are we changing this rule? Is this still accurate? Like, it's been the same way to shoot a penalty. You only get one touch of it.
Yeah, that's how it is, and that's how it should be, because otherwise you can basically dribble your way in.
Yep.
Think about it like that. And
Yep.
it's just one of those, it's a weird, unique circumstance that this happened where he slipped, was still able to get it. Because usually when you slip, you miss. This was a unique kind of thing.
I mean, yeah, it damn well should have missed probably. He hit the bottom side of the bar and just somehow snuck it
It
in.
somehow got in, yeah.
So it looked like it was going miles over, but it was one of those ones. I think had it not been against Real Madrid in this kind of game in the quarterfinal or in the round of 16 of the Champions League, I don't think it would have been nearly as big of an issue.
Oh, not at all.
People are sick at times of seeing Real Madrid win, and they want any excuse to have them knocked back. You also look at it. Oblak made one stop, and you still had Llorente miss his penalty. I don't think the blame should be on Alvarez. It happens. You slip, you fall.
He slipped and fell. I mean, that's just part of sports in general. Things like that happen, and sometimes it's hard to control. Like sometimes it just happens. You slip. It's just part of the game. Like you said, the more concerning thing is someone like Llorente just missing. I mean, that's why you lost.
That's such a poor penalty as well.
It wasn't like Oblak didn't make the save. He made the save.
That's what you expect. He also lost out because he had 8 shots on target and could only convert 1.
That's a bigger issue, because let's be real, penalties are
penalties are a lottery.
It's a lottery. You don't you get to there, anything can happen. You could slip and have a double touch. You could be Costa Rica and somehow make the quarterfinals of the World Cup because of it. It's one of those deals. Like, you don't know what's going to happen once you reach pen, so you got to take care of business before you get to that point. And like you said, you have 8 shots on target, only convert 1. That's it's on you.
Oh, absolutely. I just want to go through just these quick matchups that we have coming up. Arsenal will now take on Real Madrid. That'll be spicy. Bayern Munich, Inter is fun. Barca, Borussia Dortmund's awesome, and PSG, Aston Villa should be a showing. So I think we're set up great for the rest of this tournament.
I was saying this in the Slack. I think all of these games are going to be must watch. Every single one is going to be awesome. Really hope we can get Saka back in some way, some form before that tie gets going off, because I think otherwise we're dead in the water. But yeah, I feel like either way, it just across the board, these 4 games are going to be must watch. And it still sucks so much that we have to hide behind a paywall on Paramount Plus. It pisses me off, but oh well.
So where we live in, sadly. Doing to just hop through European Conference and the Conference League, just Premier League wise. Tottenham pulled off a goddamn miracle. They were down 1-0 against AZ Alkmaar after the first leg. Of all people, it was Wilson Auberd who kind of saved the day for him, getting 2 goals, including the 74th minute winner on aggregate to make it 3-1 in this match, 3-2 on aggregate. James Maddison had a goal. It was solid performance by Tottenham, and this looked like, at what we said, this was a revitalized Tottenham team. Mm-hmm. They looked good. They were playing well. They had their players back, and it was the young guy, Aubert, 20-year-old Frenchman, who got it done.
Mm-hmm.
Man U, meanwhile, Bruno Fernandes got a hat trick, 2 penalties for him. The late one, Delac got an even later one, 1-5-2 on aggregate against Real Sociedad. They have tough games upcoming, though. Lyon for Man U, Frankfurt for Tottenham. Those should be interesting. And then Chelsea, if they don't win the Conference League, they've messed up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look at the teams left in it. The only ones I can say for a fact that I actually know where they are, Real Betis, Fiorentina, Chelsea, Warsaw. And then, I mean, just based on researching and watching some of them, NK Želji made history. Did you see that? Any of that by chance?
I did not, no.
So this team in Slovenia was playing Lugano, a team from Switzerland. It was 1-0 to Celje. on aggregate after the first leg. They need a 95th minute penalty to level it on aggregate to send it to extra time. Then they concede a 118th minute goal to send it to penalties. Ultimately, they won in penalties, but kind of a crazy game there that I just want to give a shout to.
That's sick. And honestly, I was looking at this. That's like the only team I couldn't tell you where they're from.
Yeah.
I was feeling pretty proud about the rest. I was looking there. They don't even have a logo where I'm looking.
No.
They're just a team name. Everyone else has a logo. They just have the team name. I think that's kind of funny.
Yeah, and this is part of the fun of this tournament is you have teams from Sweden, Austria, still the likes of Spain, Italy, England. You got a Polish side still in it. It's a couple Polish sides, actually.
2 Polish sides, yeah.
Poland's back up.
Poland is back up. You heard it here first.
But anything else on the European side of things before we move back to kind of our Premier League preview for this week?
Nah, I think we're good to do that. Always a fun little thing to do to look at these Conference League teams and where you have them. You got you should think about like Chelsea, Fiorentina, and Betis are all huge. And then you've got Salje, Legia Warsaw, Djurgården, Rapid Wien, Jag Alonia, Białystok. And it's really sad because I actually am Polish. I can't even come close to saying that name.
Hey, you got Legia Warsaw.
That's true. That's an easy one.
That one.
But it's really fun seeing teams like that have a shot at the quarterfinals. I still think like the Conference League is just an unnecessary money grab, but it is kind of cool seeing teams like that get a chance to play in the quarterfinals of the European competition.
And I mean, like the Celje team, NK Celje, who's the Slovenian team, that's the first time a Slovenian team in any European competition has made a quarterfinal. Mm-hmm. So that's like history. You're a fan of Slovenia, or you're in Slovenia, and you see, oh my God, this team from here is in the quarterfinals of a European competition.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We can all kind of get behind them unless you're their rivals. So,
yeah. Even that, you got to get behind them. I mean, you got to rep the nation at that point.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's fun. Moving on back to the Premier League, we kind of were in two minds about the match of the week. There's two that really stood out to us. There's a third that we have interest in. So we're kind of splitting the match of the week up this week. It's Arsenal and Chelsea, and then also Man City, Brighton. Both of them have their importance. We'll start with Arsenal and Chelsea. What are you expecting from this Arsenal side?
At most a draw.
Yeah.
It seems like right now that's kind of what's happening. I feel like the Champions League first leg against PSV was an incredible outlier, which honestly I'm okay with. Let's have our outliers in the Champions League at this point. Let's see if we can make a run there. I Premier League title race is done, so let's do that. But heading into this game, I think the best we'll see from an Arsenal perspective is a draw, to be completely honest. Just the offense is still not there. It won't be there the rest of the year. That's just what it is. Chelsea is a very talented squad fighting for their Champions League qualification lives. I'd back Arsenal to only concede one. I always say that. I feel like worst come to worst, it'll only be one. But I think the best it'll be is 1-1. I think we do concede. But realistically, I'm going to take Chelsea.
Yeah, I'm taking Chelsea as well. But I'm not that confident. Like, there's guys like Cole Palmer who hasn't scored a goal in any competition since the 14th of January. We're recording the 14th of March. It's been 2 months. That's not going to be easy. And you look at it. They've won 4 in a row.
Yeah.
They beat Copenhagen twice. They beat Leicester, relegated. Southampton, relegated, or they should be. Their other recent wins in the Premier League have been West Ham, not fighting for anything. West Ham is right on the outside. And then Wolves.
Yeah.
They're losing games against teams who are actually on level or better than them.
Mm-hmm.
My only concern is that Arsenal just doesn't have any attacking motion.
That's the issue.
Maybe this Champions League draw is giving them a boost. But like you said, I'd put all my eggs in the Champions League and not worry about the league too much. I will say this is a big swing match. If Chelsea win it, they jump up to 52 points, only 3 back of Arsenal. So that makes things interesting there. But it's one that I don't see Chelsea losing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see them winning. I think I'm going to take this as a 1-1 draw.
Okay.
But it's one that I'm like, neither team has shown me enough to be like, yes, they're going to win it. Yeah. But they're both showing me like they're not going to lose. So it's
Yeah.
One of the weird ones. We'll see who steps up.
Mhm.
Maybe it's Jaden Sancho, surprise one.
They could be, and you don't know.
They were relying on Drewsbury Hall to get the winner against Copenhagen to kind of secure their place in the next round, but we'll see what happens there. The other one that's intriguing, Man City and Brighton. Brighton's been on a heater recently. They've won all of their last 5. I think their winning streak may have gone back a little further than that.
So it all started with Chelsea, didn't it?
Yeah, it started with Chelsea in the FA Cup,
Yeah.
Chelsea in the league, Southampton, Bournemouth in the league, Newcastle in the FA Cup, and then Fulham back in the league. So 6 in a row for Brighton. They've looked solid doing so, and Man City have just looked so bad. Also want to move out there. This run of wins came after they lost 7-0 to Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
But Man City's just been brutal. You were still one talking about this earlier. It's a 1-point gap. So do you think that motivates one team more than the other? Man City is ahead of Brighton at the moment. But with Newcastle also playing Liverpool, I guess they don't have a league match this week. Liverpool's in the cup. But that's a gap one that this Newcastle team, who is level on points with Man City, less goal difference, they're watching this like, if one of these guys slips up, and if Chelsea slips up, Brighton wins and Newcastle slips up, we could see Brighton wins. We could see Brighton in 4th place.
Yeah.
That's a big swing match.
Yeah, it could. And heading into this, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know which way. Like I honestly can't pinpoint what I think's going to happen. I think the more likely thing that happens is City wins because they need it. They're at home, and I back Pep Guardiola to get it done. But I don't know. Both these teams are going to have huge motivation heading into this. City needs to win, or else they'll get hopped. Brighton can hop, and like you said, if things go their way, they can make it all the way into 4th place.
Yeah.
With under 10 games to go, that is huge. So I don't know. Like, I'm sitting here, I genuinely don't know. I could see it going Brighton winning. I could see City winning. I could see a draw. I'm going to take City because I will back Pep Guardiola and they're at home. I'm going to give them a 2-1. I do think Brighton gets themselves on the score sheet, but I think City will find a way. Give me at least one Erling Haaland goal.
Yeah.
But I could see this going either way.
Yeah, and the first time these two played back in November in the league, it was 1-0 Man City after an Erling Haaland goal. And then it was the 78th minute, João Pedro leveled it, and then Matt O'Reilly won it in the 83rd minute. So this was one that was very exciting, very tense to the end. I think it'll be very –
looks like we lost Jerry there, so I guess I'll just keep going unless I'm the one who exited out. But yeah, looking at this game just in general, it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. You don't really know, looking at it, what's going to happen because you don't know what City team is going to show up. Sometimes they're really good. They're really at it. And that's what we saw recently where I was like, okay, heading into this Forest game, I think they're going to carry this momentum in. They're going to win. They're going to beat City, right? That's what I thought. And then they go ahead and lose. They lose 1-0. They look like they're completely outclassed. Not completely outclassed, but, they definitely didn't deserve to win with the lack of offense they had with the possession they had. So heading into this game, it's just one of those situations again. What City team's going to show up? And the fact that they're at home is going to make a big difference. They have their backs up against the wall. We've seen them time and time again find a way to get it done when they need to. You kind of expect that. I want to hear more what Jerry has to say once he's back, but that's more so how it feels here. Let's see if we can get him back here, see what happened and where he went. Yeah, we'll see if we can get Jerry back here. But again, that's kind of the feeling going into this, And maybe City will come out and completely dominate, but I guess we won't know. And he's back.
Yeah, Wi-Fi just completely crashed. Sorry about that, everybody.
No, you're good. You're good. I was trying to carry it there for a little bit, but we're all back. Oh, he's frozen again there. Give him 1 second. There we go. Now he's back again. Oh, and he's frozen. See, right here, this is what happens sometimes, but it's okay. It's okay. We still got the bulk of what we need to talk about done before we had any of these issues. But again, just kind of finalizing my thoughts here on this City-Brighton game. Be ready for anything, Brighton team, like he said earlier, is on a heater. They've won 6 in a row. We could see anything happen. And he's back.
I hate technology sometimes.
Yeah, dude. It sucks. It happens.
It does indeed. But yeah, should be a fun one. I am leaning towards Man City getting a win, but by no means am I confident in that pick at all.
No, not at all. Again, like I was saying while we're waiting for you to hop back on, it has a feel that it could go either way, And you always back City in situations like this when they have their backs against the wall to get it done. But with this iteration of City, you just don't know. Yeah.
Moving on to the last one. Hopefully no more technical mess-ups.
Oh, and there it is again. This is so unfortunate. We were so close. We were so close this week. And we've been solid recently, too, when we've been doing this. We haven't had really serious technical issues. And usually when we do, it's on me. So it's kind of interesting to see it from the other side of things because I know Jerry's had to carry in the past. So now that I'm having to do it, it's a lot harder than it looks initially, guys. I'm not going to lie here. But I mean, the one that he was going to talk about here is Southampton and Wolves. And we're looking at this. This is a very critical relegation battle matchup. Southampton, they're going down, right? We've established this on the show for a while. Always pick Southampton to lose. Spoiler alert, we're going to carry that over into this as well. But they're playing Wolves, who right now are in 17th. Southampton sitting in 20th. This is a huge one, right? If Wolves wins this and Ipswich and Leicester both draw points, which is very realistic, it's very realistic. Leicester is playing Man U, and then Ipswich is playing Forest. Very realistic that they both draw points. If Wolves wins, which they're at home, and they look more likely to win, they will be 9 points ahead. And that is just so difficult to come back from if you are Ipswich or Leicester, right? And that's the way we got to lean. Once we get Jerry back, we'll hear what he has to say, but I guarantee you he is going to say the exact same thing as I did. Wolves should win this game. Wolves has had a very rough year, right? For a while, they've been in this relegation battle. They've kind of distanced themselves a little bit, I would say, from the other three down there in terms of quality, in terms of results. And he is back again.
We'll see how long it lasts.
I know. Yeah. But yeah, I got us going with the Southampton Wolves thing. I was saying always pick against Southampton. We've stood by that. It's kind of a big game, If they win this and Leicester and Ipswich drop all points, which is looking likely considering who they're playing, just how the season's gone, it'll be a 9-point gap, and that might be too much to close. Like, this could be the final nail in the coffin of the relegation of Ipswich Town and Leicester City.
Yeah. I mean, Southampton loses this one, which I think they will. I'm taking Wolves. As we've said time and time again, anybody against Southampton, I'm taking anybody.
Always.
And it's one that they're pretty much down. The Wolves win could secure them breathing room even more.
And there it is again. It's just one of those days, one of those days with the technology. So what happens when you rely on it and you're not in the same room? It's just one of the unfortunate realities we got to deal with. But we'll finish up kind of on the thoughts, I guess, in this game. Southampton's just been horrid this season. You look at it, they have conceded 68 goals. 68 goals, a minus 48 goal difference. That is the worst in the Prem. We got Jerry back again. We'll try to get through this. But, just
so well for 49 minutes.
That's what I was saying. We were so good, and we've been good recently. We haven't really had technical issues. We've been all on point. And I feel like when we do have technical issues, it's usually on my end. So it's kind of like
learn.
It's kind of interesting seeing it from the other side of things.
Oh yeah. No, it's always a blast. But
having to carry by myself for a bit, haven't had to do that in a while.
Hey, it's fun. You just gotta ramble. But
basically
like
talking to myself. Kind of sick.
Yeah.
Kind of sick.
We'll see. Southampton, I think we're both taking Wolves, so
yeah.
Gonna just kind of keep us moving along to get through these before anything else happens. Predictions wise, Everton, West Ham. We'll start there. Who do you got?
I'm going Everton.
Okay.
I'm going Everton. They've recently hopped them in the table. It's a pretty even matchup in terms of that 15th versus 16th place. At Everton, I like kind of how they've turned things around ever since David Moyes has returned. I've been saying that. You're not always going to see a win, obviously.
I think Moyes was just named manager of the month for February, I believe.
And he deserves it based on how he's turned things around for him. Again, you're not going to win every game. They tied last time out with Wolves 1-1. But just the general momentum that they've carried with them compared to where they were before David Moyes came in. I've been really impressed. I'm going to give them the 1-0 win. West Ham just hasn't done it for me, to be completely frank with you. I could see a world where it ends 1-1, but I definitely don't see Everton losing. So give me Everton 1-0.
Yeah. One thing is West Ham's wins have all been against these relegation battled sides. They're losing to virtually everybody else. They did draw 0-0 with Everton last time. This one is at Goodison Park. It's one of the final few matches at Goodison Park. I think they have this one, Arsenal, Man City, Ipswich, Southampton. A lot of tough matches in there. This seems like the one that they'll really be up for. I'm taking Everton. I'm taking them 2-1.
There you go.
Speaking of Ipswich and relegation battling sides, they're hosting Nottingham Forest. Any chance that Ipswich gets points from this?
I'm saying no. I just don't see it. I don't even think they score in this, to be honest. I'm back in Forest's back line that we've been so positive about. Give me 2-0 Forest. I think they get multiple.
I'm doing one more. I'm thinking 3-0 Forest. They're better in every eye.
Yeah.
Battle of the B teams. Bournemouth, Brentford. At Bournemouth. God, these have been two teams that have just been so weird all season. There's not a whole lot separating them. I'm going to back Bournemouth solely because they're at home. I'm going to go 2-1. I just think they'll find a way to get it done.
Yeah. I'm going Bournemouth. I think they're better. To be honest. Better team. They're at home. It's hard for me to pick against that. Give me 2-1. I think Brentford gets on the score sheet, but give me the all 3 points going to Bournemouth.
Battle of teams in London, Fulham, Tottenham, at Craven Cottage is always fun. But who do you think gets it done here?
I'm going Fulham. Talked about Tottenham kind of turning things around, especially since they've been getting guys back. But I really like this Fulham side. They're not going to knock your socks off every single week, but they've always got the potential to knock your socks off on any given week. I think this is one of those weeks. I think at home against a Tottenham team who's had a very rough go of it, Fulham can compete with anyone on any day. I'm going Fulham here. I think they win a tight one. I think it's a good game. I'm going 2-1 on this one too. I feel like I'm kind of lazy with my score predictions right now, but it just feels right.
Yeah, I'm going Tottenham. Personally, I think that it is the fact that everyone's kind of finally coming back, and it's not the first game back. It's not the second. It's the third game back. They're all kind of getting back into it. I think the defense holds stagnant or holds solid, and I think Tottenham's winning this 2-0. I just think the guys coming back are going to just be such a morale booster and everything. And last but not least, Leicester City hosting Man U. Every ounce of me wants to take Leicester, but we have seen them play, I think, 3 times already this season.
Yeah.
Yes. Man U has won 5-2, 3-0, 2-1. With that being said, they were all at Old Trafford. I still am taking Man U, sadly, in this one. Leicester's in the mud, as you said when we were previewing the Southampton and Wolves match. This could be the final nail in the coffin this weekend, and I think Leicester feels that pressure and they're going to fold.
I'd agree there. You really want to see Leicester do well. I think every neutral fan wants to see Leicester City do well.
Yep.
It's
We
just
also have a soft spot for 2014 or 2016. So
it's just not going to happen.
no,
Man U, they're looking better. I think they win this one. I don't think it's a great game, but
no, I think it's a disgusting game.
Yeah, I think Man U does get it done. Bruno Fernandes has been
Balling.
very solid recently, so
yes.
I gotta back him.
And then one more, which we can go a little more in depth of this, maybe if we want, but I do want to touch on the EFL Cup Final that we have this weekend. Liverpool, Newcastle, Sunday morning, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess Sunday, just afternoon on the East Coast, earlier everywhere else. Who's going to be the difference maker here? What are you expecting just from this match as a whole?
Yeah, this is going to be fun. I'm going to be honest. This one's going to be fun. I don't like sitting here. I think anyone could be the difference maker in terms of the attackers. I think it will be an attacker who ends up getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
Salah could obviously go and do it. We still don't know what the future holds. He might want this on the way out.
Yep.
He could be the difference maker. Isak could easily be the difference maker. You'd see other guys as well. I think ultimately this goes to extra time. I can see that happening. I think we're going to have a 1-1 in the 90 minutes, go to extra time, and in that extra time, Liverpool gets it done.
So you don't think we'll have a game like when they first played this season where it was finished 3-3 with a 90th minute equalizer after Liverpool took the lead 6 minutes earlier?
You could. You 100% could. I think with the offensive firepower that both these two teams have, you totally could. I just am expecting a little bit more defense, to be honest. I think Newcastle's going to double down and try everything they can to be as defensively stout as they can be before this game. And Liverpool already is. In most circumstances, they already are very stout defensively. I think that'll play a difference. But I do think you see both teams get a goal, take us to extra time, and I'm going to have to say, give me a Mo Salah goal. I don't know if it's the winner. I don't know if it's the first one. But when it ends up 2-1, I think you'll see Mo Salah's name on the score sheet, and you'll see his name ultimately in lights.
Yeah. I agree with Mo Salah getting the goal. I do think it'll be 1-1 after regular time. I also think it'll be 1-1 after extra time. I think this is going to be a very nervy game. Liverpool, especially after what they did over the weekend, or I guess midweek, losing penalties in a nervy game. I think they're going to kind of feel that pressure to have to get a win here.
Yeah.
And I think they will go to penalties again, and I do think that they will learn from their mistakes and get it done. I am concerned that there might be some fatigue aspect of having played that long 120-plus minute match this week, but I still think they'll get it done in penalties, and Alisson will step up, and I think Van Dijk will be the hero of this match. Not necessarily scoring a winner or scoring anything. I just think he will lock down Alexander Isak, and that defensive grouping for Liverpool is going to be the difference maker.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun matchup. Isak versus Van Dijk, right? I mean, similar height relatively, and we'll see who comes out on top. The silky dribbling of Alexander Isak or just kind of the stout, strong defensive presence of Van Dijk. It's going to be fun no matter what to watch.
It is. Should be entertaining. Definitely one worth watching. Jackson, do you have any final thoughts or comments on anything in the footballing world before we wrap this one up?
Nothing really footballing world. It's going to be a great weekend of sports. That's all I got to say. I'm looking for this.
I know what you're talking about. Selection Sunday, maybe.
Sunday. We'll see where St. Mary's ends up.
Is coming. We got conference tournaments still going.
Oh, yeah.
Football's around the corner. NHL, NBA playoff chases are coming. NFL free agency's off to an outstanding start.
Mm-hmm.
So for all that other stuff, because we're football guys here, but definitely check out the rest of the Vendetta Sports Media website. All of our colleagues have everything you need to know up to date on all of these tournaments, competitions. Formula One starts this weekend. Everything going on in the world of sports.
Mm-hmm.
Should be a fun one. Sorry about all the technical difficulties, but we made it through.
It happens.
Longer than usual. Hey, there we go. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next week.